Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show. Checking the pulse of Husker Nation, brought to you by X-Cancer. Check them out at xcancer.com. Adam, it's the off season. There's nothing to talk about. There's nothing going on. Wrong. We got today. It's transfer portal day, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know whether to be excited or not, but it's one of the most fluid situations I've ever seen in my life. By the way, I'm going to talk about the 11 Huskers who are currently in the transfer portal. By the time I'm done with this video, there could be 84. I don't know. But at this moment in time, there's 11. We're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about some stats pertaining to the transfer portal. By the way, this show's brought to you by X-Cancer. Check them out at xcancer.com. Let's light this candle, dive into it. Because this offseason is going to be anything but boring. So tune in to the Carriker Chronicles. All right, Carriker Live ended on Sunday night. See you next year, you fine folks. But here's what I want to do. Okay, I want to dive in real quickly to the 11 Huskers that are currently in the transfer portal. And then I want to talk about the transfer portal itself and some interesting things about said portal. I'm going to go quick. So first off, we got defensive back Jaden Gold, who is a 4-star recruit, uber talented kid. Maybe the most talented of the guys, all the guys in the portal, but who knows? All right, also wide receiver Camonte Grimes, another 4-star recruit. Okay, DeColdis Crawford. People were very excited when he came in. Most likely a Mickey Joseph type recruit. Plus his name was pretty cool. Obviously, that got people excited just to have fun with that. You got Brant Banks, who's a utility offensive lineman. You have Chase Contreras, who's a reserve place kicker. All right, and freshman linebacker Ernest Hausman. I might revisit him a smidge here in a minute. You got offensive lineman Alex Kahn. You've got Gabe Hines, a reserve kicker. You got Brandon Franks. Who handled kickoffs. He handled kickoffs as well. Now, those last two guys, Brandon Frankie, those last two guys were both walk-ons, all right? Recently, as of just the past few minutes, Marquise Black, all right? Now, he was a top 50 D-tackle recruit in the country when he came out of high school. All right, he's currently a 300-pound freshman as he enters the portal. All right, and then reserve offensive lineman Jalen Weaver. Now, Adam, do you like the transfer portal or not? Not the way it is right now. In fact, do me a favor. I like the transfer portal. I do not like the way it is right now. So smash that like button if you think the transfer portal needs some tweaks or some gigantic changes. In other words, some rules, some parameters, some boundaries. Okay, instead of it being the freaking Wild West. Smash that like button if you agree with me, because I'm going to dive into that here in a minute. But here's what I do like about it. There's a certain accountability that the coaches are held to. And I'm not going to go into big stories like I have in the past on my Carriker Live show, on this very show in the past few years. Sometimes players get crapped on. I'm talking Jurassic Park dinosaur dump crapped on by coaches if a coach realizes that player's not very good, or he's not what I thought he was going to be, or he's not going to be of use to me. And when back in the day, you had to sit out a year, pretty much no matter what, if you transferred. So that coach had you, especially if you were an older guy. Okay, now there's a level of accountability to the coaches that there's never been. You could argue there's a gigantic pain in the butt because now you got to constantly self-recruit and maybe kiss a little rear all the time with everyone you see. Can you really coach them hard? I don't know. It's a different day and age. And I don't mean that as a derogatory thing towards the players. That's just the way it is, whether you like it or not. Now, I could argue maybe a little bit of lack of accountability towards the players because you can literally transfer every single year if you want. There was a basketball player, I forget his name. It was just a tweet that I saw. I think I even shared it 2 or 3 years ago. He had played for 5 different basketball teams in 5 years. And I think he was like the leading scorer the last 2 or 3 seasons on whatever teams he was on. So it holds coaches more accountable than it used to, because coaches used to be able to come and go. It was kind of funny how Pete Carroll just left USC, but I digress. But the players were stuck. Well, now the players can come and go. There needs to be more accountability and parameters and rules for the players. Okay, and if you're a player thinking about entering the portal, just think about this. And I want to give a shout out to Bug Eater Nation on Facebook and Twitter because they posted this. All right, here's what they posted. All right, in the 2019 and 20 academic cycle, 4,757 football prospects entered the portal and 1,788 of them found a new home. 38% of prospects who entered found a new home. In 2021 academic cycle, 6,250 football prospects entered the portal and 2,575 of them found a new home. That year, 41% of prospects found a new home or who entered the portal found a place. In 2021-2022 academic cycle, 8,210 football prospects entered the portal and 3,332 found a new home. 41% of prospects that year who entered placed in a new home. In the last 3 years, 19,217 football prospects entered the portal and 7,695 found a new home. 40% of prospects who have entered the portal have placed and or found a new home. So anytime you're thinking about entering the portal as a football player, think about that. Now, Adam, you've talked about the wild, wild west. So how do you just make it the Wild West? One less wild. How do you just bring it into reality? Okay, because I'm going to be honest with you, and I talked about this on my last Carriker live show. Lane Kiffin originally talked about this. But if you're Bryce Young, if you're Caleb Williams, if you're Ernest Hausman of Nebraska, what's to stop you? And why wouldn't you just put your name in the transfer portal every year? Every freaking year that you're in college. Go out and see what money, see what deal you can get, see what NIL deal you can get, see what school is going to pay you the most. Either you go to that school or you come back to Nebraska if you're Ernest Hausman, Caleb Williams if you're USC, okay, or whatever school you play for and say, hey, this school is going to pay me X amount of money to go play there. Can you match it or exceed it to get me to stay here? Why would you not do that every year? Now, to be clear, I don't think that's the way it should be. Frankly, I don't know why people don't do it, because you can. It's legal. It's not illegal. It's good business. College football is, by the way, multi-million, multi-hundred million dollar business. It always has been. Student athletes were always just being taken advantage of. Okay. Now they can actually take advantage of the system the way that it is. It's not the way it should be. Okay. We should put some tweaks in for some parameters. I'll get into that. But why would you not do that? Because let's say I'm Ernest Hausman, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young. Let's say I go out and I tear an ACL, or I'm a quarterback and I just blow up my shoulder. All right. The old UCF quarterback whose name escapes me. He was never the same. So maybe you don't take advantage of this insanity that is right now, maximize the amount you can get every year, but then you go blow out your knee, blow out your shoulder. I know a guy who tore both his ACLs. It was never the same that I played with in Nebraska. Well, at least I did what I thought was morally right, but I left millions on the table because I never got to go play for the league because I got hurt. So here's my point. The parameters that I would at least start with the transfer portal, and you'd have to dive much deeper into this as time goes on. I got no problem with the kid transferring once. Level of accountability for the coaches. But let's put some parameters, hold the kids accountable a little bit too. I say you can only transfer once without a penalty. If you go to transfer a second time, then you've got to sit out a year. Now, the exception, and there could always be some sort of board that oversees this, the exception would be, let's say I'm a pocket quarterback, okay? I am slower than molasses, but I can throw darts, and I can throw 80 yards, and I commit to go play for a coach. I transfer in to play for a coach who's going to throw the ball and run my pocket type system that I'm good at. That coach leaves. Then they bring in a triple option offense. Well, that's not what I committed to, and that's not fair to me. So what I'm saying is you should be able to transfer once. After that, there's a penalty unless there's like a unique circumstance or something like that. Okay, so those are my thoughts on just how you start putting parameters on it. Because right now, players just leaving and going every year and testing. Because Ernest Hausman, I don't know, maybe he's going and seeing how much money he can get, then he's going to come back to Nebraska and be like, hey, you going to match this or I'm out? I don't know if that's what he's doing, but possibly. Why wouldn't you, honestly, if you've got that capability, until somebody says you can't, because eventually they're going to. Now, I don't know if you saw Deion Sanders' first speech to his team, his new team, the Colorado Buffaloes. If you didn't, go check it out. About 7.5 minutes long. A lot of great takeaways from that, but it was interesting. He basically told them during part of the speech, like he's going to tear them down, bring them back, build it back up. Like that's not what he said, but that's what he's getting at. He basically said, y'all want to leave. The more of you that leave and go to the transfer portal, the more empty seats there are. Because what did he say? I'm bringing my bags with me and they're Louis. In other words, I'm bringing good players with me. It was an interesting speech as a whole. It was motivational. It was, you better be ready if you want to play for me. Get out if you don't, because I'm bringing my bags with me and they Louis. Talking about pretty good players. Or maybe he was talking about his bags directly. I don't know. But anyways, it's funny. Within 24 hours, okay, someone told me, and I know for a fact because I trust this someone, they've had over 200 high school recruits and transfer portal kids hit up Colorado, interested in going to Colorado. Okay, so let me ask you this question. And I'm also curious about this. Well, let me ask you this question. Do you think the transfer portal is good for college football as it is? Let me know in the comments below. Did you like Deion's speech to the team? If you had a chance to watch it or just a little bit I talked about. Also, he introduced his son Shadur, who's a quarterback, transferring from Jackson State with him. This was the only part about his speech I really wasn't crazy about. Okay, and this was actually not to the team. This was to the media. He goes, where's Shadur? He goes, there's your quarterback. And then he goes, well, he's going to have to earn it. But it was kind of the obligatory, he's going to have to earn it. Out of everything he said I was cool with, there was a lot of I and me and stuff in the speech to the team, but it was, I'm coming, and if you don't want to bust your butt, you need to leave. I'm coming, and if you're in, then you're in. Okay, and I'm bringing boys with me. So that's how I kind of took that speech. I know it could go either way. But when he talked about where's Shedeur, that's your quarterback, I'm going to be honest. I found that interesting and not really in a great way. I don't want to say daddy ball, but who knows? I'm curious, what are your thoughts when he said that about his son Shedeur? Day one, there's your quarterback, but then the obligatory, he's going to have to earn it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, Carriker Chronicles coming at you fast and free. Go big red nose, remember. This show is brought to you by X-Cancer. Join the fight at xcancerstore.com and support your loved ones, your neighbors, and cancer fighters all over the world and help them gain access to revolutionary treatments. xcancerstore.com has a wide variety of t-shirts and merchandise supporting a wide variety of cancer battles so you can show off the colors that matter. Proceeds from each purchase not only help those at home, but also cancer fighters in Tanzania, Africa. Check them out at xcancerstore.com.